Today on Larry King Now, the wildly talented Emmy Rossum on her new film, Comet.
If you were pitching it to a studio, you would say it's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind meets 500 Days of Summer on LSD.
On what we can expect in the next season of Shameless.
The Gallaghers are experiencing this group of lesbians who are moving into their neighborhood and buying up all this cheap land and turning it into a Zen beanery, and there's a yoga shop, and the Gallaghers are very, very upset that the neighborhood's becoming nice because they might actually not be able to afford it.
Plus,
it's hard to be in a town like this where there are so many opportunities to fall into the wrong places, be it drugs or, driving under the influence or whatever it may be that can get you into trouble.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. My guest today was a child prodigy who joined the Metropolitan Opera Children's Choir at age 7. She's been excelling in her crafts ever since. Emmy Rossum is an accomplished singer-songwriter, best known for her acting roles in such films as Mystic River, The Phantom of the Opera, Beautiful Creatures. Her new film, Comet, is out in select theaters now. We'll talk about that in a while. And of course, she stars as the selfless yet troubled Fiona Gallagher on Showtime's critically acclaimed hit series, Shameless, which returns January 11th. Are you a singer who acts or an actress who sings?
Oh, I guess I'm striving to be good at either or both.
So you can't divide one from the other?
No, I guess I think it's all just expression and art, and I don't know. It's all fun, and I started as a singer, but so much of the singing that I did was on a stage. It was performance. It was so much imagination and storytelling and dressing up in costumes. So I guess I kind of fell in love with the idea of being on stage and using my imagination, and that felt very much like acting.
Streisand tells me she's a singer who can act.
Well, I should be so
Singing
lucky.
comes first.
Yeah, well, singing came first, and I do love music, and I'm lucky that I've had a couple opportunities where music could factor into the roles that I played, but I really like storytelling and playing different characters, and although singing isn't dissimilar because you get to feel things when you're singing a song, you have to imagine and connect and tell the story to people.
All right, last season's finale, I understand, ended with a surprise, right?
It did.
A cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about the next season?
Well, I had no idea that the cliffhanger was going to happen because they brought an actor to Chicago and filmed with a different DP and unit and a whole different crew to keep it secret from the rest of the cast, and we didn't know that this actor was coming back to our cast, Justin Chatwin, who plays my love interest for the past couple of years. We thought he was dead, but apparently he's not. And we didn't know that he had filmed that until we actually watched the finale episode, and it was like, wait, what? It was a little thing at the end, so it was really fun. So he will be back this year.
That you can tell us. He'll be back.
Yes.
Anything else?
Dermot Mulroney will be joining the show.
Oh, I love
He's a
him.
wonderful actor. He'll be playing a guy who is my character's boss at a diner where she works as a waitress. They're both in Narcotics Anonymous programs together, and he's kind of the first person to ever reject my character. So that'll be an interesting bone for her to pick.
Who is your Fiona? Who is she?
She's the eldest sibling of 6 kids growing up on the south side of Chicago. She has a mom who's bipolar, who's missing in action. Her dad's a con man, alcoholic, played by the wonderful William H. Macy.
Nobody likes him?
No, he's fabulous. And he actually got to direct on our show this year. So she's kind of holding it all together for this family.
The mother is taken off the show?
Yeah, she kind of comes in every once in a while to wreak havoc, but yeah, Fiona's kind of the de facto mom.
And you never met your real father, right? Is that true?
In real life?
Yeah.
We've met a couple times.
Oh, you have?
Not too many.
This strangeness about this show is this is not often shown on television. There are many white families in poverty or bad neighborhoods, but they're not shown.
Right. We're one of
You're a
the
departure.
few shows that actually shows anybody kind of below middle income. I feel like so much of television is so aspirational, so many fast cars and, you know, pretty people and doing fancy things. So it's really interesting to be able to work on a show that shows something real, where people are struggling with who they are, with putting food on the table, everything that comes with that.
How'd you get the part?
I auditioned a couple times, actually. They didn't initially want to see me because they thought I was, you know, a girl from New York, and I had been in Phantom of the Opera and had this kind of princessy vibe around me, and they wanted a real street girl. But I wrote the script, and I sold them. I sold hard. I wanted that part.
Why?
Because it popped off the page. I could feel the grit. I identified with the character's duality, her strength, her vulnerability, how fiercely loyal she was to this family, and I got it. I liked it.
You told our producers that gentrification is going to play a big role in the next season.
Yeah. Well, you know, they live on the south side of Chicago, which is a pretty rough neighborhood, and you know, when the main city, the good parts of the city, you know, get overly bought up and built up, they start to move outwards and buy up places that are less expensive. So the Gallaghers are experiencing this group of lesbians who are moving into their neighborhood and buying up all this cheap land and turning it into a Zen beanery, and there's a yoga shop, and the Gallaghers are very, very upset that the neighborhood's becoming nice because they might actually not be able to afford it. And what I love about the show is that it is a farce, it is a satire, but there are elements of that are hard for neighborhoods like that to deal with.
Are you one of those upset?
My character is yes,
upset.
She is. She does not want, you know, the empty plot next door to their crappy house to be turned into an organic garden. For just a simple $2,000 buy-in, you can help with the irrigation system for the garden for the neighborhood. The Gallaghers don't have time for this, you know? They have to put food on the table. They don't have $2,000 for irrigation. So it's funny.
What's William H. Macy like to work with? I know him well, but I don't know what it's like to work with him.
He's a really interesting actor. He really creates a lot in the moment, whereas I feel like, as a young actor, I feel like I have to do all of the homework I could ever possibly do. He's so confident, and it comes so naturally to him that he really just memorizes the words and then shows up and becomes it in the moment.
More with Emmy after this. The wonderfully talented Emmy Rossum is with us. Now let's talk about Comet. I know what a comet is.
Yeah.
What is Comet about?
Comet is a love story that takes place over 6 years. It was a really interesting script, really interesting structured script that I read, really wonderfully written. It's kind of, I guess, if you were pitching it to a studio, you would say it's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind meets 500 Days of Summer on LSD. You watch, it's kind of, what is that? Yeah, it's kind of like watching this couple in 6 different stages of their relationship, all intercut with each other. So it was written as 5 kind of 20-page scenes that we filmed as almost like a play, and then they're all intercut with each other. So as the story goes on, it kind of flashes back and forth in time, and you get to see the couple in different stages of the relationship.
The title referring to a shooting comet?
The title referring to a comet. They meet first at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery during a meteor shower. So it's.
And you and Justin are the only actors in it, pretty much the only actors?
Pretty much, which is kind of terrifying because if you suck, it can be very boring for people to watch only 2 people for that long.
So how does it work?
Somehow it does. It's interesting. It's visually very interesting. I also think it was interesting for me to play a more intellectual, kind of cerebral character because the character that I play on Shameless is so kind of emotional and kind of just is the first one to throw a punch.
In neither of these do you sing, right?
Neither of them do I sing, no.
Let's watch a scene from Comet.
This is why I hate time. I can't enjoy my second chicken because of it.
Kim.
Wish I could just stop it or something. Or at least just make it pause when needed, like now. Better yet, just get rid of it altogether.
You want to get rid of time. How would you do that?
You know how there's time-based art? Movies, music, plays, it's all time-based art. There's a beginning and a middle and an end. And you have to see it from beginning to end. You're restrained to that timeline, that way of experiencing it. So then there's paintings. No beginning, no middle, no end. You see what you want to see when you want to see it.
What's he like?
He's fun, actually.
You look great there.
Oh, it was really fun. I actually read the script, and he plays a character who's very kind of acerbic, always embarrassing himself, saying what everyone else is thinking, a little bit Woody Allen-ish, I knew that it had to be an actor who was inherently likable, because so much of the character is kind of unlikable.
It looks likable.
He did an excellent job.
And what is she, your character?
She's kind of a mall girl. She is average, kind of an idealist, romantic, and he's kind of jaded and doesn't believe in love. So at the beginning, they agree to date to prove each other wrong.
And it takes you through various situations over these 6 years?
Yeah, it kind of cuts back and forth, and at times they're kind and loving to each other, and at times they're hurtful and selfish, and it's kind of, kind of as if you were watching your relationship play out on 5 different television screens and you kept flipping between them.
A lot of romantic scenes?
Some fighting, some romantic. It's like a relationship. There's some good and there's some really terrible.
Did you have an instant chemistry with him?
I did. We had met, we were friends kind of peripherally. We had met at an award show where we'd both been nominated and both lost. And so we kind of were commiserating at the bar together. This was way before the movie. And we exchanged numbers, and he had lost some comedy award to Paul Rudd, so I had put him in my phone as Justin, I'm not as good as Paul Rudd Long, and he had put me in his phone as something similar. And then we had a kind of a texting friendship, and when I read the script, I thought of him and sent it to him, and that's kind of how the project came together.
Character-driven films are not in right now, though, are they?
I think they're in.
Well, I mean...
They're not, no. They're not.
You know what I mean?
They're not the in thing, no. People tend to like some explosions. But, I mean, there are a number of great films that are character-driven and interesting, like Nightcrawler and other ones that I've seen that are character-driven.
Nightcrawler has...
It has some
dramatic
action,
scenes
too.
and...
It has some action and some gore.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did you like Nightcrawler?
I loved it. I thought it was really, really interesting.
I found, and he was...
He was phenomenal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Would you like to work with him?
I've worked with him. We did a movie together, I think almost 10 years ago, called The Day After Tomorrow. He was a wonderful young actor then, and he's wonderful now.
And his sister's terrific, too.
She had an amazing television show, actually, called The Honorable Woman, that was on, I think, the Sundance Channel, and I binged watched the whole thing. It was wonderful.
The television is in its golden age, they say. Where does that leave movies?
Well, if, South Korea keeps pirating the movies and throwing them up online,
What do you make of that?
It won't, well, I don't know. I think the whole thing, if that happened, I think that's really funny and so unfortunate and just crazy. They also posted all the executive salaries online, too, which I thought was insane. Not that I didn't, pour all over them like the gossip like everyone else, but...
You think they did it, you think if North Korea did it, that you think they did it because of the movie?
Yeah. It was a royal FU.
Yeah.
They said, you're going to F with us, we'll F with you harder.
Fair, all's fair in love and war?
No way. Although I do think that some entertainment should be free. I think that's very unfair to the studio.
Up next, we'll talk about Emmy's other great talent, music, and we'll get her take on about how women are treated in Hollywood. Stay with us.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
We're back with Emmy Rossum, one of the stars of Shameless. That comes back January 11th, and you can see her new film, Comet. It's out in select theaters now. It's going to go wide, I hope.
I hope so, and on VOD. So, people just watch stuff in their homes now.
You're an operatic vocalist, right?
I was trained that way, yeah.
Yeah. Was Phantom of the Opera an opera?
Oh,
it was,
it's an opera, for sure.
Because it's all sung, right?
It's all sung, and there are some terrifying high notes in that. So, yeah, I'd consider it some heavy lifting.
How'd you get the part?
I think I was like the bottom of the barrel. I came in at the last minute. They had auditioned so many people, and I got the call about 2 days before they were doing a final screen test, and I had never seen the show. I had never heard the music. I listened to a couple Sarah Brightman things on YouTube, and I went, oh, I think maybe I can do that. So I said yes to the audition, and I walked in, and I was
Did you get it right there?
shaking nervous. I got it a couple days later, but I was just terrified.
Do you know if they had interviewed people who are more famous than you?
Yes, of course.
So how did you feel that I'm going in? You probably didn't feel I'm going to get this.
No, I never thought I was going to get it. I mean, I was the youngest person that went in. I wasn't even 18, so I was terrified, and it was this big stage, and Joel Schumacher and Gerard Butler was there in the corner, and I was very intimidated.
How'd you like working with him?
I loved everyone. Just being part of that was so magical. It was really incredible.
You completed your first album in 2006. You said, I was inspired to cut this album because I'm so frustrated listening to the radio these days. There's so little emotional honesty, meaning?
Meaning most stuff is about...
rap.
No, I don't dislike rap, some rap. I mean, there's a lot of pop that I think is complete trash, too. Not that, I could do any better, but I think, a lot of it is pretty thin.
What's the current state of the record industry?
Oh, I don't know. That's not my industry, but...
But you've recorded.
Sure, and I love making music, and I think I'm just a bit more... I mean, I like old school music. I like Judy Garland. I like, all that old stuff, Sinatra. So I think I'm just a bit more old school. But I do think that, more music should be free.
Have you gotten a label, a record contract?
I was signed to Interscope and Warner's for a time.
You're pretty outspoken. In November, you tweeted about your sadness over the gruesome terrorist attack at the synagogue in Israel. What prompted you to step out on that particular incident?
I suppose social media can be a dangerous thing because I think you have to, because things like this can happen. Somebody can always ask you, later, why did you say that? I suppose.
I felt terrible about it.
I identify myself as a Jewish woman. I was raised by a Jewish mother. I don't speak Hebrew. I've never been to Israel, but at the same time, I'm very culturally Jewish, and
Me too.
I think that there are certain places that should be sacred. I think schools should be a place where children are safe. I think religious places are some place that are so sacred you shouldn't be attacked there. And the way they were attacked so viciously with hatchets, it felt very, very hard for me to look at.
You should go to Israel.
I know, I'd like to go.
That's wonderful. Well, you're stalking me. We'll go together.
Okay, good.
You've been open about what it's like to be a woman in Hollywood. Earlier you said, I can't tell you how many producers have made wink and nudge overtures at me. I know what I'm willing to do to get a part, and it's not that. I think it's really hard for people who are not here without a support group, without a family. When we hear about Bill Cosby and stuff like that, we're not involving him, but have you been...
He never came on to me, for the record.
Have you been thrust upon by producers? You had...
Definitely not thrust upon. But I think I mean, people say that, everything is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power. So I think that there is definitely, there definitely are times where you get winks and nods and stuff like that.
And how do you react to it?
I don't.
Is it part of the process of, we can get you this role? Is it as blunt as that?
It's never that explicitly... I mean, I've never been in a position where I really felt like there was something that I could do physically that would get me a part that I didn't get otherwise. I mean, I've always had, I have a female agent who's very protective over me, and I've always had a strong family moral ethics. But I mean, not even in terms of, going the wrong way with that. I mean, it's hard to be in a town like this where there are so many opportunities to fall into the wrong places, be it drugs or, driving under the influence or whatever it may be that can get you into trouble.
And sex has always been a big part of the Hollywood scene, isn't it?
Sex is a big part of life and power.
I've heard that.
And yeah, of course, yeah.
Even in the Jews.
Absolutely. You're supposed to do it on Shabbat.
In fact, we like it too.
We like it too.
In Israel, they love it.
I hear it's great over there.
Kim Kardashian's nude spread, Madonna showing off her body at age 56. What do you make of it? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, to each their own. It's not as if I haven't done shoots like that, although not like that. I guess I think that nudity is part of art, when it's artistic, and I've never, you know, I show my body on Shameless, and I really do believe that it's part of telling the story in an accurate way. Even in that clip, I was in my underwear that's showing a couple in a hotel room. I don't like when sex is glamorized in a way that makes it not feel real to me. Like a lot of television programs and movies do glamorize it, and Victoria's Secret and everything's so kind of unattainable. Yeah. I like it when it feels kind of natural and no makeup-y, and when it feels real.
Are you involved with anyone?
I am.
Does your mother approve?
We're getting there. We're working on it. She does, actually. He's lovely.
I know about Jewish mothers.
Oh, yes.
Is your mother a typical Jewish mother?
Oh, yes. She is.
I'll give you a joke about a Jewish mother.
Okay.
This boy comes home and says to his Jewish mother, I found the girl of my dreams. I'm going to bring her home. And I'm going to tell you, Mama, I'm going to bring 3 girls home. I'm going to bring her and 2 of her friends. And I want to see if you can guess which is the girl of my dreams.
Okay.
So the 3 girls come to the house. They have dinner. They all leave. And he says, okay, Mama, who was my girl? She says, the second one out the door. He says, right, how did you know? She says, I couldn't stand her.
Isn't it always like that?
Coming up, we end the show with some of your social media questions for Emmy, and we'll play a quick game of If You Only Knew. Stay with us. Emmy Rossum, she stars in the new movie Comet. She's starring in Shameless. That returns January 11th. What's next after all this, by the way? What's coming?
I need a vacation.
Okay, take it. Go to Israel.
Okay.
We have some social media questions for you. Queen Malkovich on Twitter. What was your favorite part of shooting Comet?
Oh, my favorite part was we got to shoot nights at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and I have a phobia of cemeteries. Just we had to, I don't know, I just don't like walking over graves and stuff, but I got over that very easily when our craft service table was set right over, you know, Sharon O'Donnell and Mike O'Donnell from 1837. And I was like, okay, well, we're keeping them company.
And they're going to sue.
For sure, I'm sure.
Milkovich on tweets rather. What are you most looking forward to the fans seeing in season 5 of Shameless?
Season 5 of Shameless, we're going to see Frank, that's William H. Macy's character. He's going to actually fall in love, real love, for the first time with a younger woman. It'll be very, very interesting.
How many have you done?
How many seasons?
No, how many of the new season?
We're done. We just finished. So I know everything.
How many episodes?
12. So he's going to fall in love, and Fiona's going to get rejected for the first time. So.
Oh, so you got good tips here.
Yeah.
At Rome1213, what on Instagram? What types of shameless things have you done in real life? You don't have to answer any in the courtroom.
What kind of shameless things have I done in real life?
Something your mother doesn't know.
Oh, I shoplifted once when I was about 12 years old from Sephora with a friend of mine.
I took a yo-yo from Woolworth.
But we weren't even ballsy enough to steal the real makeup. We stole the testers that had already been used because they were easier. And then she got caught, and I had a total panic attack and ran out of the store and left her. And I literally, to this day, almost never walked into a Sephora because I'm convinced that I'm on some list there.
I took a $1.25 yo-yo, and I would walk around the block because I think that everyone in Woolworth was looking at me for that hidden yo-yo. Olga076 on Instagram. What do you enjoy most, working on a movie set, filming a television show, or being on a Broadway stage?
I think I like the TV show because you get to see the character develop over so many years, and you can't never know what the writers are going to write next for you.
Bryson Knox on Instagram. What has been your favorite movie to work on, and why?
I really loved working with Hilary Swank on a movie that we did about ALS called You're Not You. I loved watching her process. And
she was just here. She's a great actress.
She's a wonderful actress, and she's a wonderful person. Yeah. She's having me over for game night in 2 weeks at her house. I'm very excited. Hopefully I won't shoplift one of her Oscars.
Are you still into that?
No, I'm not into that at all, no. It's on the brain now that I'm remembering the trauma of having done it once at a young age.
On Moroccan Wisdom tweets, did you study the French film Intouchables in preparation for your role in You're Not You?
No, I've never seen that film. No, but I hear it's wonderful. And I know it is similar.
Little game of If You Only Knew. I just throw questions at you, okay?
Okay.
First boy you kissed.
Scott Murray.
Where?
Backstage at the Opera House. I must have been about 10 years old and he was 12, and I had the hugest crush on him, and
Wow.
we had this, we were too embarrassed to say that we wanted to kiss. It was just a little peck when we ended up doing it because we were 10, but he said something like, "Do you know that radio station, Kiss FM?" or something like that, and then I was like, uh-huh. And then we smooched, and it was like the world opened up, and it was like heaven.
Find out whatever happened to him?
No. The last thing I heard, he was in an a cappella group called the Testostertones in college, and that's all I know.
Where did you grow up?
In Manhattan, in New York.
What school did you go to?
I went to the Spence School.
What's harder, film or TV?
It depends on the part.
Favorite thing about living in Los Angeles?
The rain, if it ever rains.
It rain?
It's raining today. I like that.
Least favorite thing about living in LA?
Driving.
Someone you'd really like to act alongside?
Tom Hardy.
One thing that really pisses you off?
Liars.
Something about you that would surprise a lot of people?
I sleep almost 10 hours a night, every night.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I love sleeping. It's
But
great.
why? How can you love it? You don't know where you're absent.
I love it. Sometimes I wake up and I'll be like, no, it's 8 hours. It's not enough. I'm going back.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
To read other people's thoughts.
I'd like to be invisible. Who are some of the musicians out there today that you really like?
Adele, Jack Antonoff. I think Lady Gaga's pretty fun.
But you're like me, you're a Sinatra person, right?
Yeah, I like, everyone I really, really like is dead.
Any TV shows besides your own you have to watch?
I'm watching Transparent right now. I think it's wonderful. I just started watching a show called The Missing, which is really good. I liked Broadchurch, The Honorable Woman, and that's it.
What do you fear the most?
Oh, death, I suppose.
Me too.
Yeah.
Is that Jewish?
I think it's everyone.
No,
It's just
I
the
know.
unknown. It's the control factor, right?
Right, because the true believer believes they're going somewhere.
Right.
But I can't make that leap.
I don't know if
What do
it's
you
somewhere or there's a consciousness. I don't know.
What do you think?
I think there is definitely something greater than us, but I certainly don't think it you know, looks like what we conventionally think God to look at. Like,
There's no up there.
I don't think it's up there. I think it's, I mean, I do believe in like parallel universes and other dimensions, obviously. And I think something happens to us, but I don't think it's necessarily a consciousness. Whether or not we, you know, disintegrate and just become part of the universe, I don't know.
I hope it's more than that.
God, me too.
Thank you, doll.
Thank you.
Okay, don't stalk.
Okay, I won't.
I want to thank my guest, Emmy Rossum. Her new film is Comet. It's in theaters now, and Shameless returns January 11th. She's going to be a major, major, major star. You can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.